So a question that I'm asked often is, why am I an atheist? Why don't I follow through a certain religion? Why don't I believe in God, etc.? The simple answer is really this. There is no evidence for God, therefore I don't believe in him. Simple as that. If you're satisfied with that answer, feel free to close the video right now. As for the long answer, that might take a while. See, whenever someone asks me why don't I believe in God, I simply ask them, well, why don't you believe in God? And they tell me one of two things. Either a thousand-year-old book told them so, they were raised to believe that way, and or they just know. They simply believe. They have faith. Which, you know what? Fair enough. There was a time where I had faith in God. I grew up in a Christian family. My mother read me Bible stories to me as a child. So, yes, I had faith in God. The same reason why I had faith in Santa Claus. And speaking of Santa Claus, the very moment in my life where I began doubting God or questioning the existence of God was actually when my family told me that Santa Claus wasn't real. On one eventful December night, Christmas was approaching, my mother and my older sister sat me down and, we had the talk, the whole spiel, and they pretty much laid it all down to me and said that Santa Claus is not real. Me being a little kid, I was just distraught. I felt like everything I knew was a lie. And I'm just like, why did you guys lie to me? And my mother told me, no, 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 we didn't lie to you. We wanted you to have an imagination. We wanted you to believe in something. Yeah, you lied to me. But anywho, so I'm just like, so Santa Claus isn't real? And my sister looks at me like, do you really think that a fat man can live in the North Pole with a whole bunch of elves making toys, flying around in a sleigh with a bunch of reindeer, and go all around the world to deliver toys to all the children in one single night? And you know what? I thought about that. I'm like, yeah, that does sound kind of ridiculous now that I think about it. So that must mean that God isn't real, right? And then they look at me like I'm crazy, like, oh no, God is very real. God absolutely is real. And I'm just like, you just told me that a fat man going all around the world in one night to deliver toys to children is crazy, but a floating man who lives in the sky, who is all-powerful and all-knowing, that created the whole entire universe isn't? Okay. And you know what? I believe them, and I remain a Christian for the next few years. But ever since that night, there was a little seed of doubt implanted in my head that just simply grew and grew as the years went by. But, so I remained a Christian, and, around, I would say, middle school, that was the point where I really began questioning things. I started to see things that just didn't make a whole lot of sense. I became more educated, I got smarter, and I started seeing all these different religions, and I started meeting new people of different faiths, and I really was questioning myself. And around, I would say, late middle school, early high school, I started struggling with some things, and I had started attending a youth group. And with that, I really tried to find my faith. I was starting to lose the Christian in me, and I really wanted to rekindle that. I really wanted to find a reason to have faith. So I started attending youth groups, and there was definitely a point in time where I felt like I was graced in the Lord's presence. I felt like I was surrendering myself to Jesus Christ, all of that. But whenever I was there, I never felt like myself. I didn't feel like I belonged there. And it's not because of the people. They were very, very nice people and very welcoming people, but I just didn't feel me. I didn't feel I had a real reason to be doing this. Um, it didn't seem right to me. It didn't make sense to me. And I began questioning things more and more and more. And that's also how I've actually lost some friends. I've had some friends in the past that were very, very religious, and I wanted to learn more about things. I wanted to become more educated. I wanted to become smarter. I wanted answers. So I began questioning them. I was like, listen, why do you believe this? Why do you live your life this way? And they would get extremely defensive, take it very, very personally when I'm just simply being curious, and I pretty much drew them away from me. And I kind of seen how religion affects them, so I guess with me, I kind of have had I guess, an unfair perspective when it comes to religious people, and sometimes I would stereotype them, I'll admit, but I was just simply curious, and I was searching and searching for answers. But, so, I began questioning things more. I started to become not a Christian anymore. I was pretty much agnostic by the time I was in sophomore, junior year. Um, I was no longer a Christian because I was thinking, what if I picked the right religion? What if I was wrong? What if everyone else is wrong? Shouldn't I go and try to save my friends? And if I am right, how will I be happy in heaven when I know all my friends will be burning in hell? Do you know what I mean? And I thought, if God really loved me, would he really punish me for being myself? Would he really punish me for wanting to become smarter, for wanting to educate myself? Because I just got tired of living my life by something that makes me feel ashamed for who I really am. And that was when I became agnostic, essentially. And so from that point on, I felt comfortable enough being agnostic, and then around last year, actually, an incident happened in my family. There was it was an accident that happened, and it weighed heavily on me, and it still does to this day. And at that moment, I really, really wanted answers. I was desperately searching for something to believe in. And I wanted to find Christ again. I wanted to find God again. I really, really wanted to. I wanted a reason. I really did. And I got on my knees and I prayed and I begged for answers. But all of a sudden it hit me that, no, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep lying to myself. I can't keep trying to reprogram myself to believe something that I know does not make any sense to me. And from that moment on, I declared myself atheist. And if I'm to be perfectly honest with you, after an entire year of being an atheist, I've never felt more like myself. I've never felt more comfortable with myself. I feel as if I've discovered a greater sense of identity, if you will. I feel more me than I've ever had my entire life, pretty much. And yeah, I'll admit, it is a little weird being the only atheist in the family, well, that I know of, but it's just something that they'll have to deal with, and I hope that they'll come to accept that. One thing that some people say is that if you're an atheist, your life must be completely meaningless. That is completely untrue. In fact, it's quite the contrary. I feel being an atheist, my life has much more meaning. I feel being an atheist, my life has never had more of a significance. Believing that this is my one time to be alive, to do anything, I feel I've never had more of a responsibility, more of a purpose, and what that purpose and responsibility is to simply live my life to the fullest. Not according to the rules and standards of some thousand-year-old book, but by my own rules and standards. Because this is my life that I'm living. This is the one shot I have to do anything. Not after I die, but now. This is my moment. Another thing that some people say is that if you're an atheist, you must not have any morals. Again, completely not true. The reason why I choose to aspire to be a good person, why I choose to be polite to people, why I choose to be respectful to people, is not because I've been programmed to do so, not because some thousand-year-old book told me to do so, not out of fear of some boogeyman named Satan, and definitely not by the threat of eternal damnation, but because I simply choose to aspire to be a good person. I simply choose to respect to people and be polite to people, because I realize that we're all in this messed up world together, so we might as well try to get along with one another and understand each other. And I have friends and family that I love and that I cherish with all of my heart. In fact, I have some very close friends of mine that are devoted Christians, and they're some of the greatest people I've ever met. You know, I mean, We acknowledge our beliefs, that we have different beliefs. Sometimes we even sit down, talk, and debate about each other's beliefs. But in the end of the day, we realize that that's not what matters. We shouldn't let our differences define or dictate our friendship. And lastly, one thing that people say is that if you're an atheist, it must be sad not believing in anything. That couldn't be more wrong. I believe in myself. I believe in myself to have the courage, wisdom, and strength to do what I solely desire, to do what I set my mind to accomplish my goals, hopes, dreams, and ambitions, because whatever I do, it is my responsibility. Because this is my heaven. This is my hell. And it's up to me to dictate that. Well, I think that's about all I have to say for this video. Yeah, I just had to get this out of my chest, out of my system pretty much, because over the years, this is something that I've been struggling with. And people ask me why I'm an atheist, why am I so passionate about this, but pretty much this is why. Yeah, I feel like I have finally found a spot on the subject matter where I could stand and feel comfortable with, but yeah, that's about all I have to say for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all later. Take care.